of emerging markets with focus on board-level work for small, for medium-sized companies. Our own and integrated office structure, in synergy with our international alliance networks, give us access to over 200 consultants and researchers worldwide with an impressive depth and breadth of industry experience. So from executive search to interim management, from recruitment process outsourcing to leader advisory, we offer a full suite of human capital solutions to our clients across the world. Before we get to our incredible speaker, I want to share a few housekeeping notes. This event is being recorded. All participants have been muted and will remain muted through the presentation. At the end of the formal presentation, there will be a time for questions and answers. So please do not hesitate and submit your questions via question and answers dialog box, and we will be answering the questions right after the official part. We will be sending the recording and the handouts or resources that we will be mentioning during the presentation in the follow-up emails to everyone who have registered. Now, it's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker, Maria Barakova. Maria is a pharmaceutical executive with more than 27 years of strategic management and executive experience in pharma and medical device industry. And she will share with us her experience today. So Maria, welcome.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to thank Spengler Fox for their kind invitation. And I'm truly honored and excited to talk to you. I'm extremely happy to have to learn that we are having a diverse and rather senior audience. And it's a great opportunity to share my observation and experience why, from a branding and perspective standpoint, gender diversity is a strategic investment. I guess, like my daughter would say, and she's often saying it and kidding me, that after 28 years of extensive travels and face-to-face meetings only, now my time has also come to get acquainted with the Zoom technology and to start using it. So I would normally start by asking most of you questions, but in respect of time and technology, I would jump directly to the presentation. And since we are a very, very big group, I will not have the opportunity to get to know you better. So let me start by telling you a little bit more about myself. So all my life, I was driven by this sentence and inspired by this sentence of Disraeli, that life is too short to be little. And whatever I've done in my life is really, I try to take the challenge and to really represent the sentence that I like. So who am I? I spent more than 28 years in a corporation, and I'm a medical, I have a medical background. I'm a fully licensed ophthalmology, used to work in a university eye clinic. I'm holding a PhD in ophthalmology, posterior segment of the eye, and a master in international health management. I've also attended many Harvard Business School courses in leadership and in market access. And for one of my projects that I submitted after a market access course in US, Harvard Business School gave me the global award and first place. So I'm extremely honored and to share this with you. Since years, I'm living in Switzerland, and since years, actually I'm based in Switzerland, but living all over the world. I like hiking and immersing into the nature. That's how I free my brain, and maybe the most creative ideas are coming during this time. 2.5 years ago, or almost 3 years ago, when I was living in Asia, I tried for the first time yoga, and I got hooked of it. I'm a happy mother of two, and recently two already grown kids. And I've been more than 28 years in Alcon, as I said, at Alcon, and as I say, um, in the corporate world. And I started as a country general manager, then I went through area director, um, vice president, and then I moved to Asia as a head of commercial operations. So just let me share a little bit my thoughts about the career ladder. And I saw recently this pyramid of Maxwell, and it's really representing what all of us are going through. When we get for the first time the promotion, first is the position working for us. And people are following because of this position, not because of who we are and what we are representing. The second level is the permission. People like are liking the company or already, and what they see around and the way they feel. So they start following you because they want to. The third level is the production. People see the great results, and they're even much more inspired and enthusiastic to work for the company, and feel proud of representing this company. So they're following you because of what you've done for the organization. The fourth level is extremely important, and people are following because of what you've done for them. And as you may know, the millennials, they get inspired and enthusiastic by two major motivators. The first one is the recognition for their work and achievements, and the second one is the opportunity to learn, for the continuous learning and developing themselves. And the fifth level, if we are lucky to get into it, is to reach it actually. People follow because of who you are and what you represent. And that is really, I find a little bit symbolic, the wall that I was climbing. And then that's more or less the levels of the leadership I went through. It was not easy. I had many rainy days, not only sunny days, but through all those rainy days, bitter experience and kind of failures, I really learned much more than from my biggest successes. And here, like the Japanese would say, fall 8 times, stand up 9. So that's the most important, to stand up afterwards.
Maria, is exactly I wanted to say. When looking at the wall, it looks so challenging, as
it was, believe me. And this was my first experience. So don't ask me how I went there. And the most important here is you have to trust very much your partner who's holding you.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just one of my colleagues that we were not so close with, and he was holding me. So I had really to leave myself completely in his hands. And this was also very challenging, especially for people like me who at that time wanted to control everything and to really be sure. So it's not only the physical one, it's also the mental status. Then, as you may see, all my professional life I spent in eye care services and industry, and eye care medical devices too. And since I joined the university, till now, I have to share with you that I was navigated as a woman in a male-dominant world. And I would like to share um, some of a little bit of my experience, how I did it, and what I've learned in how I managed to keep science and business-related career paths while accommodating my family needs. And the first one is really to adapt to the environment, to the culture, and show competence in performance. Then people may start accepting and hopefully respecting you and following you. So it's extremely important to show to the whole world around that you are competent and you are bringing results to the company. For all of us who are working in, especially in American-driven companies, we know that at the end of the day, the P&L makes, especially when you're a commercial, it's all that matters, and not all, but it's a big thing. And you have to really prove yourself and to show results. The second one is to invest in studying and excelling in the job. And therefore, I really kept studying, kept doing the masters, attended many leadership courses, Harvard Business Schools, and lately I was leading and or facilitating leadership courses or mentorship to for my young colleagues. And the third one is stretch yourself. Get out of the comfort zone. Take tough assignment. Take even the toughest assignment, because we have to work as twice as hard as our male peers sometimes to show that we are valuable and we bring value to the company. So that's what actually I've done. I was jumping into the biggest challenges without even thinking. And then when I was thinking, I was always regretting, why did I do this again and again? But I guess that it's part of my hardware, and uh, it never happened to me to be able to change it, and I don't believe it will. Mm-hmm. So that's, for me, those are the three things that at least work for me. Of course, you may find more. But, and also one of the most important learnings for me was that when you're sent to a new location, new country, or especially to a different continent, depending on the length of the assignment, invest in studying the language if necessary. And if the duration of the assignment makes sense to do this. But the most important is before you go there, start studying and learning more about the culture, because this shows respect. You understand much better the people around, the body language, and their background. What are they driven by? What is motivating and is inspiring them? So what do they value? And this is extremely.
And Maria, have you ever in your life, because the career is extraordinary, have you ever think about that you might have done something better, or that might have even some failing situation that you would like to share with us? Because as we are talking about the comfort zone and how challenging it was, I think it would be definitely very interesting for all of us if you can share with us not only the successes.
Jana, thank you for the question. It's a great one. Of course, I can write here a book about my, of course, mistakes, but I would like to share maybe the biggest mistake or something that I would have done completely in a different way if I knew what I learned through this assignment. After the acquisition by Novartis, I was sent to Nordic and Benelux, and the project was very, very tough that I a little bit underestimated it, because till now, my career was a kind of success after success. And you don't learn, as I say, of course you feel proud. It feels very good, but you don't learn a lot only through your successes. And I was sent to, first I went to Nordics because it was much more challenging, and I had to close 8 um, offices, physical offices, 9 legal entities, and create one Nordic at a single location that I had to choose, and between Stockholm and Copenhagen. And finally, we have decided to be located in Copenhagen. And in Benelux, the 3 countries, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg.
Mhm.
So first of all, I didn't know, for me, Nordic was Nordic. I didn't know that there is no one Nordic, and culturally, they are extremely different. The second one is coming a little bit from the east part of Europe. And I know that it's important to be very strict, direct, to lead people, to tell them even sometimes what they have to do, at least at that time. Here, I had to share everything with my current leadership team. Because, of course, a consequence of this big restructuring is that you remove first the top of the pyramid, the GMs, the business unit heads, because you have to create one leadership team. And I thought that because it was not very clear when to start the project, how long the project to be, the duration of the project, and all those important details, I thought, okay, still is not so clear, I'm not gonna share. And this was a very, very big mistake, because with those people, you have to share and they have to understand what is in it for me, how they can contribute, and they're very honest and respectful. So even though they would know that their position might be impacted, or will be for sure, they will help. And the thing I didn't know, and I didn't make an effort to learn a little bit more about the culture and the environment, was that the unions there were very, very, very strong. And you have to present the business case and start negotiating with them months ahead. And the last but not least was that finally the company decided to do everything, all this in a very short time. Just to give you a comparison, should have been done for 6 months without even meeting the unions in the different countries. And to compare with Novartis, they did it for more than 23 years, and they still kept the country representatives or heads in the different countries. While for us, we have to create really one leadership team. So how everything ended, hopefully it was a happy end. But what was the cost? In the beginning, I lost the trust of the people because, I was not sharing. And then, thanks God, difference between them and maybe the Middle East or the culture in Turkey is that you go there, they're giving you your trust, but then you have to won your own stars. So I proved that it was a mistake. I honestly accepted it. But the consequence was that, I was clocking more than 80 hours per week, sleeping only 4 and only on my mouth. At that time, I didn't have a good HR partner. So it was very, very, very difficult. I lost the old leadership team, and till I find a new one, or we find a new one, it was really very difficult. So it was quite a hard learning.
I can imagine it was
Learning
hard.
forever. Yeah.
Obviously it is, and the trust is definitely important part in the whole aspects of the process. Yes.
Yeah. Here on the funny side, sometimes I felt like a seven-hand Buddha, though I was not excelling And to be honest, you cannot be perfect in all the areas. I mean, at least me, I couldn't be. Sometimes you are better in professional life. And the most important, because we have many women in the audience, what is my biggest learning is find the right partner, the partner who will follow you and support you. So, and thanks God, I had a great partner who was always next to me or behind me, and was like an harbor when I was really exhausted. And what I learned through my TAFEX assignment is that there is no end. And when you think that you lost everything, the last few seconds are changing the score, few inches here, few inches there, like in the movie Any Given Sunday, and you can change the score of the game. And in this respect, really, what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls a butterfly. So it's a never-ending, really story. Don't give up. That's the most important. What are the main reasons the women are underrepresented in business and science? The first one, a few facts, and some of them are, frankly, I even didn't know about them. The first one is that cars were not built for women. Test dummies were based on the average male body, which meant female drivers had 47% higher chances of serious injury than their male counterparts. And smartphones were not built for women. The screens get bigger and bigger. They become harder and harder for women to hold with one on an average smaller than male hand, or in a small purse. Office temperature were not built for women. The standard office temperature calculated in the 1950s based on the metabolic rate of an average man is comfortable for men, but too cold for women, at least for me. It's hard to be protective when you are not comfortable first. Medicines were not built for women. Drug dosage have historically been based on clinical trials conducted on men. Because scientists considered female hormones too complicated to study. As a result, women experience adverse drug reactions twice as much as often as men, the same dose, and has a higher blood concentration. And CPR trainings, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, were not built for women. Men are 23% more likely than women to survive when requiring CPR in public. CPR training is always done on male torsos, and as a result, data indicates that people are less comfortable touching the chest. Family lives and successful careers are too often portrayed as incompatible with each other. And maternity, paternity, now I would add also post-pandemic back to work, leaves are often communicated as a financial and organizational burden. And the typical feminine trait is the typical role of a housewife. So that's more or less how it's going on. Recently, I was really happy to see a shift, and there are more female colleagues around me, and that is very good. But when I speak about female colleagues, I don't mean the transactional jobs or the low management job. I'm talking about middle and up management, because there you don't see many, you see much more below. Before we go and I show you some facts, I share with you some facts and studies why diversity matters. What are the most reported reasons for discrimination? 31% are based on race or ethnic origin. 29% on gender, disability 26, and here I have to make a point that it depends very much on the geographic location of the country. Let's say if you go to Nordics, to Benelux, even in Turkey, you have a quota and a must for disability, for people with disabilities. Age is also 14%, religion 7%, sexual orientation 5%, and worldview 2%. So diversity, why diversity and inclusion make all of stronger? And here I would like to make another point. The key word here is inclusion. If you want to show diversity to please the audience or the public with the numbers, it may result in anarchy. Most important is to use this diversity and to include the people coming from different background, culture, gender, etc. And here I would like to share two very good experiences, observations with you. Novartis has a very advanced program in diverse and inclusion. And when the vaccines were under Novartis, because they before they sold them, there was in Czech Republic exactly. In the marketing team was one person from Vietnam, and he made a good point that people coming from Vietnam, they might need a vaccine because they have their specific diseases, and that's how they discovered really a very good vaccine. Another observation was that for the companies, for the biggest company, let's say, dealing with diabetic patients and applying insulin or giving the therapy, they have made a big observation that with the Muslim minority, the response rate was not as good and the compliance as good as with the other, let's say, religions. And again, thanks God, there was an included the diverse team member or members. I don't know exactly the details. I don't recall actually. And he made a good observation that was this observation throughout the whole period of treatment or during Ramadan? And that's how they discovered that during Ramadan, they might need another approach and help, of course, millions of diabetic patients. So that's really, those are strong examples how inclusive diversity can contribute. What is the impact of diversity? Innovation revenue increases by 1% by enriching diversity of management team. And here you have the split. If you enrich the management team by 1.5% with respect of national origin, 8% with respect of industry origin, 3% of 2.5% of respect of gender, and then the last one is again the diversity metric. So it's extremely important, and here I would like to share with you really the few studies. In 2020, McKinsey found that companies with the highest levels of gender diversity on executive teams resulted, can you imagine, in 25% more above average profitability than male-dominated firms, while the most ethnically and culturally diverse companies were 36% more likely than their less diverse peers to outperform in terms of profitability. The next slide is a study from Boston Consultancy Group in 2018, and they found a statistically significant difference because the diversity of the leadership teams and the overall company achievement by innovation. So companies with diverse leadership teams, they generate much higher profits from innovation. And and you see here the percentage. So I do believe that those numbers are very convincing, and they're based on really studies that are statistically significant. So it's really important from branding, and that is answering the question why from branding and perspective standpoint, um, gender diversity, and not only gender diversity, is a strategic investment of the company. What are the benefits of diversity in the workplace? The first one is a diverse workspace better understands diverse markets, and I shared already two experiences with you, personal, and then the most important, that diverse teams, they can engage in diverse conversations with their customers, and it depends on the ethnics and the diversity of the customer's profile. You know, at the end of the day, whatever company you're working for, there are two major things that matters. The first one is our people, and this is our biggest asset. We have to recruit, retain, attract, develop the best talents. And then the second one are the customers, or I don't put, they are not in order of importance, but those two groups are the most important. And doesn't matter what type of business or company you're working for, at the end of the day, those two things, even though you might think that they're very simple, and of course the innovation matters, I don't say no, but those two, we have to be extremely careful. And gives company freedom to go after really the most talented people, and as I say, to attract, recruit, retain, develop them, and use their insights and their contribution, either for the innovation or to for the customer insights, for customer surveys, for engaging in different dialogues, and enhance employee engagement, because the company is actually showing that it's thinking, it's taking care of the people, nevertheless, or independent on their different cultural background or career path background or education or gender or other diverse factors. And culturally diverse workplace builds trust and do much better with diverse markets, because they have more insights, they can react to those insights, and they can bring and make difference for the different societies. So that's extremely important. And here I would like to share a great example from the pharma industry for diversity. They have more than 100,000 collaborator in 100 countries. And of them, if you see the gender diversity, it's almost half-half, and it's still growing. The women representation is growing. If you look at the different continents, and you see also a very good mix between Europe, United States, and emerging markets. And here you see also the disability and the other factors. So it's extremely good example, and example to get inspired by moving out of the pharma industry. Procter and Gamble, they're much advanced in this diversity and inclusion program since years, and that's how they came with their biggest innovation and how they're became so successful and selling so successful because they have all the insights of the female housewife, and not only housewife, but working mother, and what they need and what they want to see in the shop. So that's really extremely important. What is the impact of diversity, and what are the facts here? Mm, From a branding perspective, gender diversity is a strategic investment. And just to tell you that companies, but you will see it a little bit later. Let me see a few more data here. I have them here. Diverse leaders are better at understanding their customers and acting on their insights, as you already see. And then the other one is companies with female diversity. You can see only the gender diversity are 21% more likely to financially outperform their homogeneous competitors. So it's really extremely important to have this gender diversity. And by increasing 31%, with 31% the female leaders mix, this results in 1% increase in net margins and 15% increase in profitability. So how to turn this complexity, fight with prejudices and paradigm in the society, in the way of thinking and considering the female role. The first one is how to turn it into opportunity. The first one is build trust around maternity leave and post-pandemic management, from the announcement to the back to work of the female leaders. So just to share an interesting fact from an article that I recently read, that in US, I will bring an example from US, 2.2 million women have left the US labor market during the COVID pandemic. Working mothers have been forced to quit or drastically reduce their hours, as balancing work, childcare responsibility, and remote and school have become very difficult, challenging, and untenable. And now, how to solve this also after the maternity depends on the regulation and duration of maternity, is really to offer a pandemic or a post-maternity leave of absence, remove pandemic or maternity leave, gap year bias, implement diverse state of candidates when considering a position, scale return to work programs and offer different programs, and reskill women if necessary, women if necessary. Give women equal opportunities and promotion chances post-maternity and post-pandemic. It's not only to give them the opportunity and promotion chances, but the most important is really to keep educating them and to encourage them to follow. It's not just to offer. Support and accompany women before, during, and after maternity and post-pandemic leave. Remove the maternity and pandemic gap biases, and transform parenthood lessons, resilience, and new skills learned during maternity and pandemic into an asset. You know that when you have kids and when you have to jungle with different balls, or during COVID, resilience is maybe one of the biggest lessons that you learn. And we have to use this one as an asset to the company. And scale return to work programs, reskill, as I said, women. So here I would pause Thank you very much for your patience, and I'm open for questions.
So Maria, as you've been mentioning, like what are the skills that we need? So you mentioned the resilience at the beginning, the trust. Then we were talking about, of course, the stress management, multitasking. You know, what else would it be that you would say there are the top skills that a woman in this environment in these days must really have, or would be advantage of having?
You know, I was very curious to read and learn an interesting facts that I never considered in my life, because I thought that those are the prejudices, the way that the society was thinking since ages, and the typical position of the women, um, that is really the first thought that is coming to your mind. But it's not like this. It was found that most of the female managers and leaders, they're lacking business acumen skills.
Mm-hmm.
And this was kind of really surprising me on the bedside. So I do believe that those the business acumen skills, if you are not working, let's say, in finance or executive finance for non-finance or finance for non-executive, it's extremely important to have those courses organized by the company. It's not necessary to send the women to fancy courses or to Harvard business. It's important they to feel comfortable to read the numbers, to understand the numbers, to open their mouth, and to really speak up when they think in a different way.
So definitely it's also about the communication, and that's exactly what we get another question about. What would return to work programs include generally for companies, but also specifically for women, to women post-pandemic? You know, so
Programs like, depending on the, you know, that a big trend that we are seeing is this remote work more and more encouraged, and the way you get your message through, the way you contribute, or the positions that are available. Because when you're reshuffling the company, of course, the first thing you do is really to reduce the size of the team. And depending on the positions and the skill before COVID pandemic or before maternity, if those positions are not exactly existing, the company might think of really rescaling or developing, offer some programs for those. And once again, it's not necessary to be done out of the company. This could be done peer to peer, or just depending on what is needed. And another observation, by the way, when you have a leadership meeting, ladies are normally, women are normally coming in the last second, or because they're busy or jungling. And what a typical male executive would do, they're networking before the event. At least 15 minutes before they're there, they discuss what is the agenda, what the agenda will be. They agree, they disagree. Finally, you get allies, especially when you present the project. So
I like this tip. I like this tip, and we all need to learn that, and definitely just start using it. That would be.
I never learned, by the way, another
So
confession.
we will talk.
But yeah, there is always a beginning.
So we are having questions coming in. What would be one important advice you would give to a young woman at the beginning of her career?
Okay, as I said, it's on the job side. Find a good partner, whatever partner nowadays, because you need the support. Or if you have a strong family who's supporting you, but you need the support. You cannot get through everything without a shoulder. Could be a friend, could be a schoolmate, could be someone to be next to you. That's really extremely important on the human side, and especially for us, the women, we are more emotional. And of course, our emotional intelligence is hard, that's proven. The other one is show up, even in the most rainy day of your life, stand up, get up, dress up, and show up. That's really the most important, is to show that you're there, and to always have the courage to apply for a new job. Invest in learning, really, but not only theory. Without practice is nothing. Don't be afraid of your failures. You really learn from them. Just my best advice is try not to repeat them if possible. But that's it. Never be afraid. Continuous learning. Take tougher challenges. Get out of the comfort zone. Nothing happens in the comfort zone. That's for sure. You will stay there forever. Yeah, it's very comfortable. It's cozy, but you will not get up if you want.
So another question, thank you for answering that one. How to handle rejection, non-recognition in your field of study as a woman compared to male counterparts? How to handle these?
Still, I have to be very honest, it's happening by default. Male candidates, are normally having advantage. And even if the company is willing to show some diverse numbers, inclusion is missing. So from day one, you have to adapt to the environment. Of course, from the beginning, you cannot bring results. You're still learning, but you really have to adapt. Show your best observation, exhibit your best observation skills, because the most important is really to look around, to see. One thing is when you read the recruitment announcement and when you go through all the interviews and you feel good about the company. The other one is when you're in and you learn much more about the company culture and how to adapt it. What do they appreciate? If necessary, study, and don't count only on the company. Study outside. Have always a peer, not necessary from the company, could be from other industry, to share your challenging cases and challenges. Sometimes when you're not in, you really see the forest, because very often when we have challenges, we are focused on the tree. And our blind spot, because I am an ophthalmologist, is really increasing. So that's what I would say as a beginning. And then I shared, of course, continuous studying, showing respect, bringing results. That's it.
So here we go with another question. Hello, Maria. What would be your advice for companies that are yet to start with inclusion and diversity strategy, particularly how to approach building a case for change, especially in male-dominant environments, to accept the new approach?
Normally, at least I'm referring to our company when we started with this agenda. You have to find a champion. And I was a D&I champion for EMEA for almost 4 years. So you have to truly believe in this and attract peers, not necessary. Here important point is don't make it a female club. You need also a male support and people who do believe in this. And of course, you earn respect and you learn your own stars, as I said, like in Nordics, by exhibiting results, bringing results, contributing to the company. But first, you may really start bringing the agenda to leadership meetings and bringing facts about why diversity matters, pioneering and taking the initiative to make some programs and to really and attract people, collaborators from your area, not only from the headquarters. Headquarters is not enough. will not change anything, because we have to admit it is a male-dominant environment and work, especially in the corporations. So you have to really attract from different continents and have champions in each individual um, country. And be careful, it's not a full-time job unless the agenda develops so much so they decide to have one head of diversity and inclusion. But I don't believe in this, at least for the first good 5 years. It's a job, just it's not a job. It's a project that you take if you believe in it, and you create different programs. You share continuously the results. I can tell you, let's say from Italy, a very nice initiative came for the female surgeons. They realized they are not given enough the opportunity to enter the operating rooms, to be trained, etc., etc. So the team created their so-called pink club. They call it like this, and they did a series of live surgeries, wet labs for female surgeons. They were led not by the company, of course, but by a very devoted female surgeon. So there are many, many examples, very good examples.
Yeah, definitely there are. How would you combine, like when you started your career, like this 27 years ago, if I may again mention, and now? So what's the biggest difference that you see in connection to the diversity and inclusion?
Oh, I can tell you immediately. Before I joined the corporate world, really 28 years ago, I was working in the university eye clinic. But in order to get into this university eye clinic, I had to go through many exams. And all of them were set for a male. Not ophthalmologists, we were all residents at that time, just to start the residency. And because the male candidates were failing, or the particular candidate was failing, the exam was canceled. So I went through many cancellations till I get it. And then I remember the chief of the chair of ophthalmology. He didn't like pregnant women, and at that time I was pregnant with my first kid. It came just like this, and I had to hide my pregnancy under the operating room for many, many years. This is just from the side, from academic area, an example. Then second, when I was promoted to VP, I got many strange congratulations, and I never thought about them, that I'm the first female VP. And I guess still the only one. We had one president, of course, a female, but just to tell you that things are happening, are changing. And I see, as I said, now lately, I was happy to see really a shift. And I see more female, once again, colleagues. I'm not talking only about transactional positions, but I'm talking about middle and higher management. So it's really a good shift. Things are happening, but I wouldn't say with the speed that we would like to.
Yes, so I think also that's a need to generate the female that are experienced, and then they can be mentoring the younger generation as well, or the lower level of management or leaderships, and just to provide them the support with that they need.
And it's not important only to create a noise. Of course, you start with the noise, but you have to prove, well, why it's a strategic investment, why it matters to follow this agenda. And I don't say that it's a special agenda or something that, as I said, it's a full-time. You just believe it, and if you believe it, you will do it. And
Mariette, yes, belief, definitely it's a part, and the faith that we need to integrate in that. I thank you very much for very open sharing for the trust that we had and created. Hopefully it was inspiring for the other participants as well as it was for me. Thank you again a lot for your time, and I hope that we will have another opportunity to catch up in some other topic, because I but strongly believe that you have plenty of things to share, and I would be really looking forward to that.
I'll be honored once again, and thank you.
Thank you.
For organizing.
Thank you.
And I wish you all a very good rest of the day.
Thank you, Maria. So thank you to all the participants for joining us today. So we hope that you enjoyed the conversation as well as the topic. We, of course, would really like to hear your feedbacks on that and maybe even some input. So what can be the other topics that you would like to hear about? A link to the recording on this webinar, as I was mentioning at the beginning of the webinar, will be sent to you via email, and you will be also available to access on a YouTube channel. And so please follow the LinkedIn and to subscribe also to our YouTube channel, and you can stay up to date with all the topics that we're going to be bringing for you in the future as well. Thank you again, and wishing you all the best and stay healthy. Goodbye.
Bye.